In this video, I show you how you can get your first 10K month as an educational creator on Skool. And this is the stage where it feels like we are fighting the Hydra, where there's just so much to do. Every time we cut off one head, two more are growing back. And this is all based on the scaling roadmap from Alex where he shows us the different stages that we need to hit in order to get to eventually 100 million. So whether you want to get there or not, this is still going to be useful depending on what stage you are. And today we're specifically covering stage 3, which is all about stabilization. And this is the stage that allows us to break through the 10K and allows us to really hit the next level. Because otherwise we are trying to do everything ourselves and we can maybe get there once, but that just means we need to constantly create more content, and we are also needing to do all of the sales ourselves, and now we also need to do the delivery and the coaching, and it just looks silly wearing all of these hats at the same time. So at this stage we need to stop being the doer and we need to start being the trainer and building a team that helps us do all of this work. So if you don't know who I am, I'm the wizard at Skool, and I recently got my rocket, which means that I got to 10K in monthly recurring revenue. And this is not the first time that I hit 10K, but it's the first time that I hit this in monthly recurring revenue. And I just wanted to share my lessons that I found across marketing, sales, and operations, and want to share them with you because over the time I just learned a bunch of things, and I want to make sure that you get there faster. And again, this is all based on the scaling roadmap with Alex. And if you want to have a specific quest that allows you to understand what is the next move, then you can fill out this quick assessment that allows us to understand at what stage you're currently at, and then we'll give you a customized quest that breaks down all of the steps that we are now going to cover in the plan across marketing, sales, and operations. So we are now at stage 3, which is all about stabilization, and only 24% of the business and educational creators get there, because at this stage we need to start hiring our first employees and make sure that they are actually able to do the work that we used to do. So instead of having everything in our head, we need to now put this out there and have proper systems, because we just don't have the capacity to do everything ourselves. Even with AI, it's very difficult to have the marketing brain and the sales brain and the operations brain, and I don't know anyone who is really doing everything themselves. So no one can really skip this stage. And we want to make sure that this is something that allows us to scale past 10K, because I see a lot of people getting stuck at this stage because they never really learn how to outsource and how to train, hire, and ultimately build a team. So that's what we're doing. And in terms of marketing, I think the first person that we need to get is an editor, because this wastes so much time. And I still remember being so obsessed about the details and spending a whole weekend editing a video, and I could have done so much more. I could have gotten more customers. I could have reworked the onboarding, and the editing is not something that I'm actually really good at. It's just something that needed to get done. So having someone who does this for us is actually a massive boost to our time. And the second aspect there is once we have an editor, we want to make sure that we are using templates. So personally, I like to use the Promise, Prove, Plan framework from Alex. So every video that I make follows this kind of framework. So in the beginning, I was hey, this is what we're going to do. And here's the promise for you. Then it's hey, this is my proof. I just hit 10K in monthly recurring revenue. And now I'll walk you through the plan, marketing, sales, and operations. So really applying what we're doing here. And something that is also very important, and Alex really points this out in the roadmap, is we need to treat marketing not just as a way to get new leads who become our customers, but also using this to attract talent. And the best people that I actually hired came from the community, people who were just generally engaging with my content. And that's because we're also talking about our vision and our mission and our values, and all of these things are very attractive to someone who potentially wants to work with us and sees that we can help them along their vision. And yeah, just thinking about this and like having not just a marketing to get more leads and customers, but also thinking about how can we state and position our marketing in order to get like and hire people who end up like working for us and become our like best partners in that way. And this brings us to sales. And here the first person that we want to hire is the setter. And this may actually be more important than the editor, because the setter is directly responsible for more revenue within the company. So there is a much clearer return of investment. Because here the setter is someone who helps us do follow-ups, who helps us qualify the right people. And when our calendar is booked by like sales calls, by creating content, by going to events, by making sure that like we are actually delivering the results, having someone who's just focused on that is so invaluable. And I cannot tell you how many leads I've lost in the past because I just didn't do proper follow-up. And as soon as I had someone who helps me with that, everything just became much more streamlined, and making sure that like we're really focusing on the people that we want to work with. And this gets into the second aspect, which is the pipeline. And here the pipeline, we want to take everything out of our head and put this in a system that allows us to visually see. And this really helps our team as well to understand who should we prioritize, who should we follow up with, who needs another conversation, who is still lacking some information. And based on that, we understand at what stage people are. And this way, we are also making sure that no one falls through the cracks, because we have like the visual follow-up aspect. And it's like, oh, these are the people and this is their stage. And here we can also touch on like actually the tracking of the sales, because when we know at what stage people are, we also understand whether they have already like done their first payment, whether they still are on a payment plan, whether they maybe need a follow-up conversation and see if they would like to get more help and support. And all of this is only possible when we do have a system and a setter who works this system. So this way we make sure that like no payments gets lost, no one is left on red, and the follow-ups actually happen, and we make sure that we are talking with the right people at the right time. So this is why sales is so important, to kind of like get the help and support from that. And now let's have a look at the operations. The problem here is that we cannot do all of the delivery ourselves because we need to do everything. And instead of working in the business, we need to work on the business. So having someone who helps us with the delivery aspect is crucial. And that's why the first hire around the operations would be someone who is helping around customer success. And this is the person who is like doing the onboarding, who makes sure that everyone has the right assets, who makes sure that no one is confused and they always know the next step. And having like this white glove experience in the beginning really helps us develop the system and the process to make sure that we can operationalize this whole process and make sure that like every time we walk a new client through the system, it gets a little bit better, because I really love this iterative process. And here is a framework from Alex and Leila Hermosi, which they call growth. And this is specifically for onboarding. So here is how we go through this. We want to set up their goals and like where do they want to go. And this is already something that was discussed in like the sales conversation. So as like a really best practice, we already take the information that we had from like the point where we closed the deal and now hand this over to the customer success rep. And then we just confirm the goal. We give them the route and it's like, hey, this is what is going to happen next. We optimize their first experience so they actually know what is happening. We integrate them in the workflow, make sure that they have all of the logins, make sure that they understand that like the tools and resources available to them. And then we want to track and get feedback from them. It's like, hey, and this is like a continuous process, right? We always want to track their progress and see if they have some complaints and things about that we can do better. And then we hand this off to actually just free up and make sure that we are not having to do and reinvent the wheel over and over again. So here comes like the really big thing at this stage, where we need to focus on like one thing that we need to fix. Because when we're doing the onboarding process, we will get, and it's like, hey, this is not working. And we want to fix the biggest problem. It's like, if we fix the biggest problem, then we can get to the next stage. If we fix this one thing that everyone complains about, that no one is using, that everyone is getting confused by, then we are actually creating a better experience. And this is the start of this iterative process that you need to run over and over and over and over again. And this is generally how I got to 10K, and how I'm currently facing the Hydra, and how I got the Rocket. So next up, we'll cover on like how to get to 30K. So this time it will be, I'm not sure if by next week I'll be at 30K. That's like a pretty big jump. But I have worked with a lot of clients who are already at 30K, and I understand the roadmap from Hermosi, and I worked with like Aiden Lebrache is my mentor, and I kind of like worked for him for a long time, and now he hit 300K. So I really understand like every step on the process. And I'm able to operationalize this while going on this journey myself. So again, if you want to have like a specific quest with all of the things that you need based on your current rank, then fill out this assessment, and we make sure that you get everything that you need, and you actually have like a visual way to see where you are, what needs to happen next, and how you can actually rank up and continue to rise these ranks, because like that's what it ultimately is. We're just playing a game, and we want to continuously get better. And in order to get better at this stage, we need to hire people and have like a level of stabilization. So I'm excited to see you in the community and also get you to the next stage. And remember to enjoy the journey and have fun along the way. Peace.